Feats are an integral part of the game and define the characters that use them. Zhanhu with his fire-based mechanics. Give him flaming arrow immediately. Like, what are you guys even thinking? Are you trying to mess with me? Oh, come here, you little shits! Medjay with his stance-based abilities. And of course, how couldn't I have mentioned him up until now? Sohei, with all of his soul-based feats. These are just a few examples where you could get a very good insight into the hero from just looking at their feats. Unique feats define heroes, is what I'm trying to say. Keeping that in mind, it makes me very sad to see that almost the entire roster doesn't even have a single unique feat. With the upcoming feat change to Warden, you can clearly see that even the developers are trying to add more hero-specific feats. Add to this already lackluster choice of unique feats that one feat that almost every hero shares is a projectile third feat. Almost all of them deal 50 damage and can be used in guard mode or can freely be aimed in freelock. These kind of feats are incredibly problematic, since they are by far the best option in their slot. Dealing 50 damage flat, denying your opponent revenge, basically dealing almost unavoidable damage, is just way too strong. This just creates the problem that every third feat has to be extremely busted to even compete against these projectile-based weapons. So, let's kill two birds with one stone. Hopefully not. They're actually very cute. I like birds. In this video, I will be giving every hero that doesn't have a unique feat a new feat based on their playstyle. I will be starting with the Knight faction and work myself from there on. I will be skipping over Warden, since he's already getting new feats. Let's start with PK. PK is an assassin that starts off very slow into the fight. After applying her first bleed damage, she starts snowballing and reapplying bleed to keep up the momentum. Since bleed decays very fast, and without it, she basically has no opener. Let's help her out. The feat I would give her is Nasty Cut. With this feat, bleed doesn't deal damage until it is lethal. Then it kills instantly. This feat would replace her current second feat, Thick Skin. Thick Skin may be a very strong second feat, but it just doesn't fit for an assassin. Next up, Scent. He's also a rushdown character, but unlike PK, he doesn't need anything to start his pressure. His vortex-based playstyle can quickly end a fight if your opponent doesn't guess right. He also utilizes walls to his advantage, being able to deal some serious damage by just pairing you near one. Since his playstyle revolves around vortex attacks, let's help him. This first feat is called Superior Might. After hitting a vortex attack, your next combo attack doesn't consume any stamina. This only lasts for the next attack and as long as your combo is going. So the second your combo stops, this feat will no longer work. This would make his stamina management even better, allowing for an even more relentless rushdown. Now to Conqueror. Conqueror is a hero that can quickly change between a defensive and an offensive playstyle. With his infinite unblockable combo and his bash attack, he is a force to be reckoned with. His shield stance also gives him the extra bit of defense and cuts down his recoveries substantially. Since his shield stance defines him as a character, I want to focus on that. His new first feat will be called Fortified Stance. After fully entering your full block stance, you gain a 15 HP shield that lasts until you leave your full block stance. This would make it so getting tagged inside your full stance would make it that you take less damage since you are already blocking. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps everything up with Conqueror. Right, this piece of shit. I will be replacing Punch Through with Defensive Advantage. After superior blocking or blocking in full stance, you gain a 25 damage boost for 5 seconds. This ability has a 12-second cooldown. This shows how this defensive tin can jump from his defensive fighting style into an offensive fighting style when the moment is right. Now let's go to Law Daddy. After his latest buff, Lawbringer can access his unblockable heavy combo finishers faster than ever before, and can constantly sprinkle some bashes into his combos to always keep his opponent on their toes, or sometimes off their toes. The new feat I will be giving Lawbringer is Vigilantism. I first thought I would make this similar to Fury from the Vikings, but then I thought about Come At Me from Warlord, and I thought, what if you took 20% more damage, but your opponent takes 40% more damage? But this could be cheesed by just applying it and running away, leaving the dirty work for your team. What a proper vigilante you'd be. My final idea was increasing the damage you take by 20% and increasing your damage by 50%. This lasts 30 seconds and has a cooldown for 90 seconds after the feat's end. Gladiator is an assassin that uses a combination of toe stabs and skewers to overwhelm his opponent. Some attacks of his kit gain unique attributes once your opponent is out of stamina. Building upon this unique mechanic, I wanted to add a feat that utilizes this. This feat would be called Crowd's Favorite. For the next 15 seconds, your skewers will now deplete your opponent's full stamina bar. After successfully landing a skewer, this feat is cancelled. This means you can cancel your skewer into a throw and knock your opponent on his ass. Since they will gain their entire stamina bar back after getting up, I'd say this is fair. Now, let's come to the next faction. Vikings. Raider's main mix-up, and therefore his main damage, comes from his zone attack. His hyper armor also gives him the ability to constantly keep up the aggression. And his running attack has also been haunting people since day one. So, I came up with two ideas. Borrowing a feat from the Pharaoh notebook, I wanted to give him access to his Stampede charge out of neutral, with a new first feat called Endless Plunder. After activating this feat, Raider will take a few steps backwards, giving your opponent enough time to react, then dash forward, grabbing them. This feat would have a 2-minute cooldown. This entire feat would be very problematic, since a Pharaoh's feats are already kinda BS. So, I came up with the idea of a new passive second feat. Savage Strike. Every successful zone attack now deals 5 extra bleed damage. As simple as that. Berserker puts a constant barrage of pressure on his opponents due to his permanent hyper armor and the barrage of heavy attacks followed by unblockables. Also worth mentioning is his ability to dodge out of his recoveries. With this feat, I wanted to focus on his hyper armor, introducing his new third feat, the Barbaric Rushdown. After being hit, a 0.5 second timer starts counting down. If in that time you deal any damage, 25% of the damage is healed back to you. This would mean that trading is now even more beneficial for you. I know, hyper armor is already hated enough, but I just love this concept so much, so I had to implement it somehow. Highlander sacrifices the conventional way of defense, his guard and therefore blocking, for an absolutely brutal offense. His offensive stance gives him fast lights, hard-hitting heavies and the bash mix-ups with his kick and caber toss. I wanted to give him a new third feat based on these vortex attacks. His new passive feat will be called Mountain Breaker. Your kicks, without even doing the heavy, will now deal 8 damage, and your caber toss will now deal 10 damage. The implementation of this feat would mean that his infinite kick combo would need to be removed. What a loss, I know. Next up, Warlord. Well, Warlord deals a lot of damage, and oh yeah, he has a shitload of health. Yeah, it's pretty much it. He can trade with his hyper armor and do headbutts. No blockables, no mix-ups, just bashes. His raw damage output and his ability to trade attacks is the main way of him doing damage. My man is the literal definition of going head first through the wall until the wall gives in. So let's make him deal even more damage. His third feat will be called Lawbringer. After a headbutt or a zone attack hits your opponent, they will gain a defense debuff for 5 seconds. This feat has no cooldown, so reapplying this debuff is actually possible. You could maybe even keep this debuff on your opponent the entire fight. Valkyrie tries to reach her third attack in the combo to create her sweep mix-up. She has the ability to feint attacks into her full block stance to do a shield tackle. This will always lead to her sweep finisher. Her finisher lights from the side can wall spot opponents, giving you even more damage. Since her entire kit is based around getting that third attack, let's give her a feat that increases her lethality. At first, I wanted to make it so her sweep now leads to the same punish as her out of stamina throw. But that would be absolutely busted. So, I came up with a new passive third feat. Relentless Momentum. Her combo finishers now deal 25% more damage. And her sweep now deals a base of 10 damage. Meaning, her just swiping you off the floor already deals 10 damage. Next up, our favorite assassin, Shaman. Shaman is an assassin hero that can apply bleed through a bleed step, which greatly enhances her neutral bash attack. She can also use her side heavy unblockables to create a admittedly not very effective mix-up. Since her most memorable attack is her pounce, let's build upon that. I will be adding a new second feat. Her new passive second feat will be called Bloodletting. Immediately after pouncing on an opponent, their entire bleed damage will be given to you as health. So that entire bleed damage doesn't just disappear, you can actually gain something from it. Now coming to the last faction, the Samurai. Starting off with Kensei. Kensei has the ability to soft feint his first top heavy attack into a bash, and each subsequent one into a side light or side heavy. His main mix-up comes from his initial bash and his top heavy unblockable. All of his combo finish attacks, except his top heavy, have hyper armor, allowing him to cleave through multiple opponents with ease. His insane range also makes him a great hero to keep multiple opponents at bay. Since similarly to Valk, he wants to get to his chain ending attacks. Let's make it even better for him with his new passive third feat. His new third feat will be called Honorable Showdown. I actually thought of two different versions. Version 1, the less broken one. After you unlock this feat, all of your heavy finishers are now unblockable. So you can use your side heavies to mix your opponents up or tag the entire map. Version 2, since I just like the idea, all of his chain enders are unblockable. Lights and heavies, just like Shanhu. This would make him into a devastating threat in teamfights and make it impossible to get knocked out of his side heavy unblockables. Now to a problem child of mine, Orochi. Orochi can create pressure out of nowhere and easily keep it. His ability to dodge cancel all of his recoveries leaves him with an almost unpunishable offense. His kick is a great way to start a fight. His main damage comes from a barrage of mix-ups that deal a serious amount of damage. Even after halting his advance, he can take the initiative in the blink of an eye. His top-heavy unblockables deal a serious amount of damage and flow into his kick, a non-stop in-your-face fighting style. For Orochi, I thought of a new third feat called Flash of Steel. After landing an attack, you will gain a 5% damage boost. This stacks up to 15% and is lost the second you get blocked or parried. This feat should show how quickly Orochi can overwhelm you with his fighting style. Shinobi uses a hail of low damage attacks that can quickly add up to a lot of damage. His unique double dodge is a one-of-a-part mechanic that allows him to not only deflect mid-dodge, but also helps him create even more of a mix-up. In Dominion, he's a ganking specialist that can easily confirm a barrage of attacks from your team. For Shinobi, I want to rework his second feat, Shooting Stars, so this does never happen to me ever again. I swear to God, the next time I'm gonna lose my absolute shit if this happens. His second feat will now tag opponents the second you hit them. Shooting Star will remember the enemy you hit and will try to hit them with exactly 1 star on activation of the feat. Shugoki is a slow, hard-hitting, fat tank that sucks up damage like a sponge. Due to his massive health pool and his hyper armor, he is great for trading damage. His headbutt and his unblockables give him some great ways to open up a fight and create mix-ups. His Demon's Embrace give him the ability to recover health mid-fight. For Shugoki, I went the lazy route. I will be honest, I did not think of anything new. The thing I will be giving him is Steadfast, an old feat that was removed that made it impossible for you to get knocked over. This is an extremely broken feat, but to learn from our mistakes, this time it will be a third feat and it will have a 20-second cooldown after being activated. Nobushi is a dodge specialist that can apply bleed damage for her backstab light and her dodge light. Her hidden stance makes punishing her almost impossible. Add to that she can dodge out of pretty much anything, giving her a great offensive while not sacrificing any of her defensive capabilities. Her kick mix-up and especially her bleed damage make her a menace in ganks, since she can apply a lot of damage that could be fatal the second your opponent leaves revenge. Why she doesn't already have slip through is beyond me, but I wanted to give her something special. Her new passive third feat is called Hidden Focus. After dodging or entering her hidden stance, her next attack deals more damage. Her dodges also now no longer consume stamina, except for double dodges. And now to our last guy, Aramusha. Aramusha lets it rain on his opponents, but not with money,
I feel like it's raining on me, okay?
but in a far less pleasurable way. He rains a furious chain of combo attacks onto his opponent until the chip almost becomes lethal. His combo heavy finishers can be soft fended into fast lights to throw your opponent off. His blade stance give him the ability to keep himself safer during a fight. His zone attack and his ring the bell soft feint are some of the only ways he can realistically start a fight. I love his blade stance so much that I thought of his new passive third feat. It will be called Blade Offensive. After superior blocking an attack with your stance, the next attack after your follow-up attack will become unblockable. This would make it so that he can go straight into a mix-up afterwards and continue pressuring his opponent. And that's the end of the video. These are all the new unique feats I would add to every hero that doesn't already have one. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts and liked the implementation of these feats. If not, please drop a comment below and let me know what you would change. But that's pretty much all I wrote, so there's only one more thing to say. Watch yourselves out there, okay?